Adekanmi, how are you? Adekanmi, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Adekanmi? Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Hear me? Can you? I can't hear you. We need to get this sorted. Hi, Chima. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you, my loud and clear.
Hi, fantastic. Adekanmi, can you also hear me? We can't hear you, Adekanmi. Adekanmi, we can't hear you. It's important we are able to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so good morning, everybody. You're welcome to this session on intentional innovation. It promises to be a very exciting and impactful session and training on innovation and design thinking. I am Adekanmi Olusanya. In the last 20 years, I've studied over 2,000 brilliant students.
Hi, Adekanmi. Hi, Adekanmi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, can we give some time for more people to join? We have just 3 of us on the call. So let's give some time. A couple of people are having issues with the link. I'm having to do like another broadcast with the link you sent to me. Some people registered and they didn't get the link.
Yeah.
Are they coming?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
People are reaching out to me. They didn't get the Zoom. A couple of people did not get the link after registration. So I'm having to sort of do like another broadcast with the link. So let's give about 5-10 minutes for more people to join the call.
Okay, so
Adekanmi, are you able to share your screen?
I think
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. I can see Chima, Ayo, Christiana. Then please, can you just update your ID? There's someone with the number code on your ID so we can put a name to our participants. And please just give a bit more time for more people to join. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. How's your week been? It's really been hectic for me. But I'm excited this morning because I'm doing what I love to do, which is to impact and share knowledge with people. Good morning, Ayo. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Good morning. We'll have more people. Let's wait for more people to join so we can have Christiana. Thank you, Christiana. Thank you so much. Did you sleep at all, Christiana? My hard-working colleague. Nice to see you on the call again this morning, Christiana. Well done, sis. Thanks for all you do for us. Oh, thank you. Thanks, sis. Okay, Adekanmi, he's frozen. I think he has a bit of internet challenges.
Okay, so Lara.
Yes, Adekanmi, I can hear you now.
Okay, I just had to admit some people into the waiting room.
Okay, are you able to share your screen?
That's what I'm coming. I think I should just send them to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. TDA, my sis is in the house. Wow, it's going to be a great time with you. Morning, TDA. Hi, Jiro. Morning, sis. Morning, sis. Thank you so much for making our time on a Saturday morning. I'm honored. Bless you, sis. Thank you, Franca. Thank you, Titi. Okay, Titi is still joining. Amina, glad to have you here. Isabella. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Adekanmi, are you still able to hear us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, are you able to share your screen?
Just a minute, please.
Yes, so that once we have more people join, we can start.
Okay, you know what? I think you should please help me share the screen because it doesn't seem to be.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Uh-oh. Okay, so let me share my screen then. Okay, so Adekanmi, you need to enable me so I can share my screen. I don't have the authorization yet. Please enable me. Make me a co-host, please, so I can share my screen.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, we have more people join us. Constance, thank you so much. Titi, Franca, thank you. We are glad to have you here this morning. HP, please, can you update your name? Let's know who HP is. Thank you so much. Thanks, Titi. We are glad to have you here. Join us. Deborah, Alex, thank you. Thank you for your time this morning. We're looking forward to an exciting and interesting learning time on innovation. I mean, innovation is like the buzzword we hear here and there now. Innovation, innovation. What is it really about? And how can we even get innovative? Adekanmi, please, can you make me the host, co-host?
Just a minute, just a minute.
Yes, so the quadrants, that's what we do, building capacity every day, work day, weekend, learning on the go. Yes, sis, thank you, quadrants. I can see a lot of us here already. Thank you so much. Okay, let me know as soon as you can view my screen. I'm sharing my screen.
We can, man. Can see it now.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. I think we can start Adekanmi. We are 11 minutes past scheduled start time. We have 18 people on the call now. Hopefully, more people will join us as we start the session this morning. So Adekanmi, over to you. But I would employ everyone as you join, please just go to the link on the screen, enter the code, and let's just have your view on the question that is on my screen. Is innovation learned or inborn? Whilst you're giving us your response, Adekanmi will start the session. And when we get to the point where we can have this conversation, then we'll pick it up at that point. Thank you, everyone. Adekanmi, over to you to start. Adekanmi, are you still there? Can you hear me? Uh-oh, I think Adekanmi is dropped off. Okay, so please go to the link on the screen and please put in your response.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please start.
Okay. Sorry. Good morning, everybody. You're welcome to this session on intentional innovation. It promises to be a very exciting and impactful session on innovation. Very quickly, I would introduce myself. I'm Adekanmi Olusanya. I'm very passionate about innovation. In the last 20 years, I have studied 2,000 beautiful, brilliant ideas on innovation, and they span different sectors from fashion to home appliances to information technology to transport and all different sectors of life. And I have discovered that innovation is not only very interesting, it's also very easy. And that informs my passion to want to train people on innovation. I have about 20 brilliant ideas to my credit, from everything from food recipes, like what I call the Isewu shawarma, to fashion, to my cufflink sandal, to my style of meditation that I invented called map meditation, to a style of reading I also invented called social reading, to training modules I have invented called like selfless esteem and empathy engineering. So I'm going to just share a lot of those beautiful principles on how to innovate, So, but first, let me just spell out how this training is going to flow. First of all, I would introduce turn to Lara shortly to introduce herself.
Adekanmi, we can't hear you again. Are you still there?
Okay, I said, did you hear me when last, what did you hear last that I said? I said that I introduced myself.
First of all, I will introduce, yes, that was the last word I heard from you, to introduce.
Okay, now, so I said that I will pass the baton to you to introduce yourself, and then I'll take it up from there. Lara, can you please just introduce yourself, then I'll take it up from there.
Sure. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I see a lot of friends, colleagues, sisters on the call. I'm really excited once again to be at another knowledge sharing session. I mean, leaders are learners, and I'm not surprised that we are building a community of learners. My name is Lara Yeku, fondly called Coach Lara. I'm an HR leader. I have about 16 years over experience in human resources. I am also a certified coach, passionate about helping people transform their life to their best whole self. I currently head the HR at FMN. I'm responsible for talent, people, and organizational strategy for our food division. For me, innovation should be our way of living. And it was from my curiosity to learn innovation that got me into design thinking. I'm also a design thinking expert, and I always tell people how I delved into design thinking. It was meant to be for consultants at my former organization, Accenture, so that they can help clients to improve and bring innovative ideas to help them increase their businesses. But out of my curiosity and the fact that I love to innovate, and I found a methodology that for me became a part of way of living, which brings innovation to the front burner for me. This morning, the whole idea is for us to begin to make that intentional effort into how do we begin to innovate beyond just knowing the word innovation, but how, learning the how, bringing it to the fore, understanding the thinking around what will get us to be more innovative. and you will all agree with me that we are in a competitive world now. Everybody's talking about value. You need to bring value to the table, value, value, value. And when we talk about value, we talk about skills, talk about your experience. But I found out that there's something that sort of wraps everything up for you, which is innovation. How are you able to innovatively combine the value from your skills, experience, expertise, your talent, your strength, and bring everything together, right, to solve problems? For me, I think that is one of the things that will make us superstars at our various endeavors. This morning, I'm here together with my friend, Adekanmi. I met him sometime last year. He had a session for kids, and I really loved the way he was able to deliver his training for kids. And we got talking, and I found out that wow, he's someone who's really passionate about innovation. He's done a lot of research, like he'd mentioned. And I said, okay, you've got this very good skill. You've done a lot in innovation. Can you please come share with the world so that we can also learn and grow together, and of course, definitely make the world a better place. So please, I implore every one of us to relax. Let's make it very interactive. It's meant to be an engaging session, and I'm looking forward to us learning together again this morning. We'll start with the question on the screen. I encourage those of us who have just joined to please go to the link that you can see, and let's have your views around this. And on that note, I'll hand it over to Adekanmi to take the session. I'll come after his session to just talk a bit about design thinking. How does design thinking also link to innovation? I'll be sharing the simple methodology and of course around the concept of design thinking and how that can also help us be innovative at our various endeavors. Thank you, everyone. Sit back, relax, and let's have fun this morning learning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lara, for that. Very grateful. Okay, so first of all, in this session, or like just in most of my training sessions, I always say I am going to rig this session. I am going to rig this session. Now, RIG, R-I-G, is an acronym for repeat, interact, and globalize. Repeat, interact, and globalize. Now, why will I repeat myself? I'm going to make a lot of trenchant points, a lot of poignant statements on innovation, and so I will have to repeat myself as I make those statements. Why? Because repetition leads to retention. Repetition leads to retention. And look at it like this. The difference between what is in your head and what is in your heart is repetition. I'll take it one more time. Like I said, I'm going to repeat myself. The difference between what is in your head and what trickles down into your heart is repetition. So if you want to habituate a thing, repeat it, it goes from your head to your heart. Repetitive practice, repetitive affirmations, repetitive visualization, and so on and so forth. So repetition, that's why I will repeat myself. Repetition one more time leads to retention. The I stands for interaction. I'm going to be calling on people and asking questions as though we're in a class, maybe even like a primary school class. I'll call out names and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And the reason for that is that interaction takes us from intervention to integration. I'll take it one more time. Interaction takes us from intervention to integration. So we want to be able to integrate. It's one thing to attend a training on innovation. It's another thing to become an innovator yourself. Like I said, I have not only studied innovations, I have innovations to my credit. I built a lot of training models by innovation, like selfless esteem, like empathy engineering, which today have been facilitated at great law firms, banks, and all sorts of major organizations. And then I invented my own type of meditation as well, and I can even present it to you. So you can become an innovator. Like I said, there's an innovator in everybody, but to actually habituate and begin to practice and live out becoming an innovator, we have to go from intervention to integration. And one of the ways to do that is to ensure that this program, like Lara said, is highly interactive. Highly interactive. Then the final one, G, is globalize. What do I mean by globalize? I'm going to take a cue from many global examples, I'm going to use a lot of global best practices. And why will I do so? I will do so because the standards you are wired to are the standards you aspire to. One more time. The standards you are wired to are the standards you aspire to. So if you keep on looking at local examples, you will have a local standard. If you keep on looking at global examples, you will have a global standard. I'll give you an example. One day, a lady came to me. She said she wanted to become an event planner. And I said, okay, who is the greatest events planner in the world? And she said, I don't know. You know, another time a lady came to me, she said she wanted to become a bespoke shoemaker. I said, who is the best bespoke shoemaker in the world? She said, I don't know. And you see, if you don't know who is the greatest in a particular area, you may limit yourselves to lower standards. So I'm going to use a lot of global examples. Now, also, in the course of this training, I'm going to drop the ball in about 40 minutes so that Lara can take over. So I'm going to move really pretty fast. However, you will understand everything I say. I will not lose you and you will not lose me. And then Lara will take it over. And then after that, Lara will hold the ball for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then we will have 20 minutes for questions and answers. So if you have questions, please note them down. And then after Lara's session, we will have a 20 minutes Q&A session. And even afterwards, we will make ourselves available for those who still want further interaction. So we're going to have an amazing time, like I have said, and like Lara has said. Now, I want to just gather one or two expectations based on what we have said so far. What do you expect from this training? Just one or two people. One or two people, feel free to unmute yourself and speak. Just one or two people as we go forward. One or two people. What do you expect from this training? What do you expect from this training? Yes, very quickly. If you want to type, you can go ahead and type. If you want to type, please go ahead and type. Yeah, does anybody want to share with us one of what their expectations are very quickly? But if I don't hear from anybody in the next 10 seconds, then I'll just have to move on. Anybody? You can. Okay, thank you very much, Donald. Donald says my expectation is to build an innovative and entrepreneurial mindset. To build an innovative and entrepreneurial mindset and pass the same to my organization. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much, Donald. Any other person? One more person in just 5 seconds, because we need to move ahead for the purpose of time. One more person. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to, or feel free to chat in if you want to. Feel free to unmute yourself or chat in if you want to.
Adekanmi.
Okay. Yes?
Okay, just also let you know that we have responses to the survey question on the screen as well.
Yes, I'm coming to that.
So I'm coming to that.
I'm coming to that. Okay, we have one more response, and that is from Tosin Kadiri. Thank you very much, Tosin. Tosin says, I expect to learn the skills of innovation. I expect to learn the skills of innovation. Okay, fantastic. Now, we have Mukhtar Yusuf says, my expectation is to be able to discover my innate innovation skills. I can assure you that that will occur, and I assure you that your expectations will not be underwhelmed, but your expectations will be surpassed. Okay, now, is innovation learned or inborn? I hope you can see the slide right now. We just wanted to look at a survey. We just wanted to, Chisom says, I expect to learn how best to cultivate my innate skills. Okay, thank you very much, Chisom. That will happen effortlessly, I assure you. Okay. So please, can you just show that slide? Thank you very much. I'm now about 43% think that innovation is a learned skill. About 1.3% think it's, oh sorry, yes, okay, just about 10% think it's inborn, and about 30% think it's a combination of both. It's a combination of both. Okay, So good. So with that, we are good to go. So first of all, I'm going to start with why innovation, or what is innovation rather, sorry, what is innovation? Now, based on my research on so many ideas and innovative innovations, I have curated this,
Sorry, Adekanmi.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. It would be nice to get 1 or 2 views from the participants on the reason why they've selected their responses. So from the audience, 4.3, an average of 4.3 people believe that innovation is a learned skill, while an average of 3.3 believes it's a combination of both. Please, can we get 1 or 2 views from the participants on this? Thank you.
Okay.
Can anyone share?
Can anyone share? Yes. Just tell us why you think innovation is a learned skill, if that was what you picked, or if you think it is both, or if you think it's inborn. Very quickly, please. We'll appreciate that if you have any. Yes, you can type or speak, whichever you want. Whichever you want. Feel free, whichever you want. If you want to unmute yourself and talk, why not? If you want to type, excellent.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Mukhtar Yusuf.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, Mukhtar.
All right. I feel it's a combination of both, because even though you have innovation is inbuilt, even though you have it inside of, even though you were born with it, you need some external factor to trigger it and be able to actually exhibit such. Probably environmental factor, probably where you are working, you are challenged, or you've seen a mentor. It has to be in you, and you need something to help you to exhibit it. You can it's ceteris paribus. You can't give what you don't have. What you have in you is what you give out, but you need someone to ask for it, then you give it out. That's why I feel it's a combination of both. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mukhtar. One more person, please. One more person. Tell us what you think.
Seriously, could I compel but
Okay, Franca says, I totally agree with Mukhtar. It's a combination of both. Thank you very much, Franca. Thank you very much, Frank. Is somebody trying to do something?
Okay, can I say something?
Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, so my name is Tosin.
Please go ahead.
I picked it's a learned skill rather. It's not because it's not inborn. You can have it inborn, but if you don't know the basics or the coins around it to be able to exhibit such, you might not. So even if you don't have it inborn, if you do learn the skills, you can also be so great at it. So I picked skilled, meaning you can learn it.
Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Okay, final person. Thank you very much, Christiana. She says aptly described by Mukhtar. Okay, let's move on. Last person. Yeah, somebody wants to talk. Last person. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead, okay, so that we can move on.
I'd like to say that it is inborn, but it can also be triggered, can be encouraged by the environmental factor, which by maybe let me say by your environment, some things will trigger you to be able to bring forth these inborn attributes. And I believe everyone has it, but it's just for us to have an opportunity to express it, then it will be more pronounced.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on now. Let me give you my opinion on this as we move on. Innovation is predominantly a skill. predominantly in skill? Yes. Are there aspects of innovation that are inborn? Exactly. Yes, of course. However, predominantly it's a skill, and you will understand more as I go through this virtual training on innovation. So what is innovation? What is innovation? I have defined innovation as intense or passionate repetition. One more time. I have defined innovation as intense or passionate repetition. Intense or passionate repetition. Intense or passionate repetition. Now, I want to go into the brain and show you how the brain works and show you why I have defined innovation as intense or passionate repetition. Now, every part of your brain performs a certain function. Every part of your brain performs a certain function. For example, there's a part of the brain called the corpus callosum. It is responsible for multitasking. Multitasking. That's the multitasking center of the brain. There's a part of your brain called your hypothalamus. Hypothalamus. It is responsible for hunger and satiation. Hunger and satiation. So whenever you are hungry, your hypothalamus is working. Whenever you are multitasking, your corpus callosum is working. There's a part of your brain responsible for fear and negative emotions. It is called your amygdala, Now, in the same way, there is a part of your brain that is responsible for innovation. If you activate that part of your brain, you will find out that you are innovating effortlessly. I will take that again. Please take note of this. This is very important, very, very important. There are different parts of our brains that contribute to why we do what we do. They are responsible for our actions. The reason why women remember more than men, the reason why women have a stronger memory than men is because the memory center in a woman's brain is larger than the memory center in a man's brain. I'll take it one more time. The reason why women remember more than men is because the memory center in a woman's brain is larger than the memory center in a man's brain. Now, that center is called the hippocampus, but don't worry about all that jargon. The hippocampus is the memory center, and women have larger hippocampuses than men. Now, it will interest you to note that even women have a larger IQ, average higher IQ than men, because of the kind of brains that they are born with. Women, that's why a woman will remember what you did in 1973. She will tell you of what you did in 1984. She may even tell you of the dress you were wearing when you did it in 1974. They remember a lot because of the kind of brains they have. Now, back to what I am saying, there's a part of your brain that is responsible for innovation, insights, ideas. That part of your brain is called your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. But don't worry about all that jargon. What I'm going to do today is to show you in practical steps how to activate those parts so that innovation becomes effortless. So, like I said, now the part of your brain that is responsible for innovation is your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. When it comes alive, you just begin to have more ideas. You begin to become more innovative. Inspiration goes up. Intuition goes up. The 6 eyes of creativity go up. The 6 eyes of creativity go up. What are the 6 eyes? Eye number 1, ideas. Eye number 2, inspiration. Eye number 3, intuition. Eye number 4, innovation. Eye number 5, invention. And eye number 6, insights. Those are the 6 eyes of creativity. The 6 eyes of creativity. And once you activate your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, innovation becomes very easy. Now, the next question is this: how do I activate my dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or the innovation center of my brain? How do I activate the innovation center of my brain? Now, and let me just say a couple of things. Like I said, I'm very serious about this, that if you understand how the brain works, innovation will become effortless for you, very easy and effortless for you. Let me give you just a little other example. Now, the reason why Albert Einstein was very brilliant was that he had the part of his brain that was responsible for performing a lot of motor functions, what you call his parietal lobe, was very large. You know, after he died, the Thomas Harvey, the brain scientist at Princeton University, where he died, took his brain and chopped it into pieces to examine it. So you see, when people are very slow, it's because of the kind of brain they have. When people are very meticulous, it's because of the kind of brain they have. There's a part of the brain that controls all those things. And if those things are very active, it will determine a person's preferences, a person's habits, a person's actions, a person's disposition, and so on and so forth. So how do I activate the innovation center of my brain? It is activated by intense repetition. Please take note of what I said. It is activated by intense repetition. I'll share an example with you. You see, there's a Brazilian soccer star by the name of Leonidas. Leonidas invented the bicycle kick. How many of us know what a bicycle kick in football is? If you know, just signify by raising your hand or waving. A bicycle kick is a kind of kick where it's an overhead kick in football. He invented it, but he invented it when he was in a state of intense repetition. He was just kicking the ball and kicking balls and kicking balls. And when you engage in intense repetition, something happens. The repetition center of your brain comes alive, or the innovation center of your brain comes alive, and you just become innovative, and new ideas just come forth. New ideas just come forth. And that was how he was able to invent the bicycle kick in football. What about Isaac Newton? Isaac Newton invented infinitesimal calculus. Infinitesimal calculus when he was still a student at Cambridge University. How did Isaac Newton invent infinitesimal calculus? Very easy. It was in a state of intense repetition. Intense repetition, intense repetition. He was just solving mathematics. If you know a little bit about Isaac Newton, and if you have studied Isaac Newton, I have studied him like I'm studying for a course. Isaac Newton would stay in a room throughout the whole day, and he would just be solving mathematics for 18 hours. He spent time just solving mathematics. He was a workaholic. He loved to solve mathematics. Of course, he was a mathematician who loved mathematics. And in those long hours of intense repetition of solving mathematics and one equation after the other, infinitesimal calculus was invented. It was the same flow, that is the same practice that made Albert Einstein to invent the photoelectric effect. It was the same flow. Albert Einstein even had to pay his wife money so that she will not disturb him, so that he would just keep on working on his project and working on his project and working on his project. In that state of intense repetition, innovation goes up. Innovation goes up in the state of intense repetition. Intense repetition. Intense repetition. Okay, I want to give you a little more examples from great people as well. Now, a lot of great innovators have said that walking is a fantastic practice for innovation. Walking is a fantastic practice for innovation. So taking a walk. Now, people I wonder, why is walking such a good practice for innovation? Very simple. In walking, you are engaging in intense repetition, especially if it's a long walk. In walking, you are taking predictable steps, predictable and repetitive steps, predictable and repetitive steps, predictable and repetitive steps. Now, guess what 4 great men said? 4 great men. Number 1, Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was one of the greatest writers in history. He said, whenever I want to get inspired, I take a walk. What about Goethe? Goethe said, whenever I want to get inspired, I ride on horseback or I pace. Once again, intense and passionate repetition. Aside that, Mark Twain, the great philosopher, said, whenever I walk, I get inspired. I get inspired. Now, it is not exactly that walking alone. It is not exactly that walking alone is the key to innovation and creativity. It is that passionate repetition is the key. Now, why do you notice that when people are doing things like they are sewing, they're taking passionate repetitions, they get inspiration for songs or ideas and things like that. It's just the same process. It's just the same process. Whenever you engage in passionate repetition or intense repetition, you activate the innovation center of your brain. You activate the innovation center of your brain, and when that part is activated, innovation comes effortlessly. Innovation comes effortlessly. Now, I delve deeper. I need to delve deeper and go deeper into this. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the importance of timing and innovation. Timing and innovation. Timing and innovation. I'm going to make a very important point right now. Please listen to this. You cannot afford to miss this. In the morning, you have the brain of a creative and curious child. In the morning, you have the brain of a curious and creative child. In the afternoon, you have the brain of a logical and analytical adult. And in the evening, you have the brain of a reflective elder. Please, I'll repeat myself, but just hold on. In the morning, you have the brain of a curious and creative child. In the afternoon, you have the brain of a logical and analytical adult. In the evening, you have the brain of a reflective elder. Now, I want to break it down. You see, there's a brain wave. There are 5 different brain waves. 5 different brain waves. 5 different brain waves. There is the delta brain wave. There is the theta brain wave. There is the alpha brain wave, the beta brain wave, and the gamma brain wave. 5. I'll take it one more time. Delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. Now, delta and theta are the brain waves for creativity and curiosity. I'll take it one more time. Delta and theta brain waves are the brain waves for creativity and curiosity. So whenever you are in that brain wave, everybody, please listen to this. Whenever you are in that brain wave, creativity tends to increase. Curiosity tends to increase because that is the brain wave that is suited for creativity and curiosity. That brain wave comes alive. That brain wave comes alive in the morning. In the morning, that brain wave, especially in the first 20 minutes when you wake up. Especially within the first 20 minutes when you wake up, and eventually the next 40 minutes. So let's say the first 1 hour. The first 1 hour. That's why people say that they have brilliant ideas when they are taking a shower. People say, oh, when I'm taking a shower, I get into those eureka moments. The reason why is that you took a shower when you were in a state, a delta and theta brainwave state. In a state where your brain was suited for curiosity and creativity. When you get into the alpha and beta brainwave, you are more likely to engage in a preponderance of analysis and logic. Analysis and logic. Because that is the brainwave that is most suited to analysis and logic. Now, I want to delve deeper. Please go with me, flow with me. I need to delve deeper. When a child is born, between when a child is born and when the child turns 7 years old, between when a child is born and when the child turns 7 years old, the child is in a delta and theta brainwave. That is when the child is in the curiosity and creativity state of life. That is when the child is in the curiosity and creativity state of life. So, listen, that's why children are very curious, because that is the brainwave that they are functioning in at that time. That's why children are very curious. If you give a child a modem, the child will put it in his mouth. It is engaging in curiosity. If you give a child paper, the child will try to eat the paper, put it in his mouth. It is curious. He's trying to find out things. That's the brainwave of curiosity and creativity. If you put a child in dirty mud, if you put an adult and a child in dirty mud, the adult will be irritated to be in mud. But guess what? The child will take the mud and begin to play with the mud. The child will begin to make things with the mud. You give a child any object and the child is trying to make a toy with the object. Why? Do you know why? Because they are in the delta and theta wave. They are in the creativity and curiosity phase of life. However, all of us, we are children in the first 1 hour when we wake up every morning. We are children when we wake up. We are in that same wave. We are in that same wave when we wake up in the first 20 minutes every morning, and also when we are asleep. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this so that when you wake up in the morning, when you wake up in the morning and the next 1 hour, you are highly intentional about how you spend the first 1 hour after you wake up. And I'll speak more on that later. You need to be more intentional about how you spend the first 1 hour after you wake up so that you don't waste your time of innovation. I'll share an example with you. Tyra Banks came up with a very beautiful idea called America's Next Top Model. It fetched her millions of dollars. She said, I woke up in the morning and I looked out of the window of my house and I just thought to myself, if we have American Idol for music stars, why can't we have an American reality show for top models or for models? And that was how America's Top Model was formed. It was an idea that was birthed in the morning. Now, I want to share this with you. Please, this part is very important. I need your full attention, please, to maximize the benefits of this training. This part is very, very important. Very, very important. I told you that the brainwave for innovation is the delta and theta brainwave. Yes. You also are in a delta brainwave when you are sleeping at night. When you are asleep, sorry, whether at night or in the afternoon or a siesta, when you are sleeping, you are in a delta brainwave. I want to give you about 4 exhibits. The most sampled song in the history of mankind. The most sampled song. No other song has been sampled as much as this song. A song called Yesterday. It was written by Paul McCartney of the Beatles. It was published in 1965, thereabouts. He slept, and then in his dream, the melody came to him while he slept. Do you know why? Because delta brainwave, the sleep brainwave, is the brainwave for inspiration, ideas, insight, and curiosity. All the 6 eyes so you can. You see, you can commercialize your sleep. Your sleep can be your most commercial asset. Your sleep can be your most innovative and most commercial asset. And I'll show you how. Now, and he woke up and he was asking John Lennon and his other friends that, do you know who wrote this song? Do you know who wrote this song? And they were saying that they don't know. Then he later discovered that I actually got it in my sleep. And he thought that he had heard it previously. That's exhibit number 1. Exhibit number 2. His second most popular song, Let It Be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Singing words of wisdom, let it be, let it be. That is one of the most popular songs on earth by the Beatles. He wrote that song as well. He composed that song as well. You know what he said? He said that I slept one day and my mother came to me and he said, before I slept, I was in a very painful and a very chaotic state in my life. And he said, as I slept, my mother came to me and said, everything will be all right. Just let it be. Everything will be all right. Just let it be. And that was how that song was created, in his sleep. Because when we sleep, we are in the creativity brainwave. Come on. When we sleep, we are in the creativity brainwave. That is the brainwave that is suited to creativity. It's not the only brainwave. I'm not saying that you only get creative when you sleep, no, but it is a very crucial one. I need to go on. Give you a couple more examples. What about Beethoven and Mozart? They said they got their fantastic melodies in their sleep. But let's talk about Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday, the father of electricity. I hope you know that Michael Faraday was an illiterate. But guess what? One day he slept and he saw some mathematical equations in his sleep. He woke up, he wrote them down, and they went to test them in a lab, and they found out that these equations are really valid. One more time, the brainwave for sleep is the innovation or creativity brainwave. That's why babies sleep a lot. The babies that we talk about that are very creative and very curious, they spend a lot of time sleeping. Why? Because it's the delta brainwave, it's the theta brainwave, it's the same brainwave. I'll give you some more examples and then dash off. More examples and then dash off. What about this man, the most successful music producer of all time? The most successful music producer of all time, James Cameron. James Cameron was the director of the two top grossing Hollywood movies of all time. Titanic grossed over 1 billion, I guess. And then, yes, of course, 1 billion. And then Avatar grossed over 1.2 billion. And guess what he said? He said, and please, if you doubt me, I'll send you the link. Just request and I'll send you the link so you can watch the video yourself of him talking. He said, my most brilliant ideas, I got them in my sleep in a dream. My most brilliant ideas, I got them while I was sleeping and dreaming. My most brilliant ideas. So how do we make the most of this? I call this sleep engineering. Now, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is that I begin to engage in a lot of intense repetition because I know that I'm in the brainwave. So I begin to make affirmations to myself, affirmations to myself, affirmations to myself. You know, you don't just want to wake up and you are going on Facebook and Twitter and you are just going on Instagram and, you know, you're not really deliberate. You are wasting your brain time. You are wasting your creativity muscles. Engage in passionate repetition in the time of repetition. Merge the practice of innovation with the timing of innovation. One more time, combine the timing of innovation with the practice of innovation. The practice of innovation is intense repetition. However, the timing of innovation is in the delta and theta phase, 1 hour, the first 1 hour after you wake up, the first 1 hour after you wake up, the first 1 hour after you wake up, the first 1 hour after you wake up. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't waste my time. I don't just rush into the bathroom and say I'm rushing for one meeting. No, I know that I'm in brain time. So I use the first 20 minutes to engage in repetition. I'm making affirmations to myself in repetition, or I'm walking and thinking, I'm reflecting, I'm engaging in any, let me tell you about the 5 hours, the 5 hours of creativity as well. So reasoning, reflecting, reading, rest, and repetition. I'll take it one more time. Reading, reasoning, reflecting, rest, and repetition. The 5 hours. So you can spend the first 1 hour or first 20 minutes doing these things and you will activate your creativity muscles over time. It will become a habit and you will activate your creativity muscles. You will activate your creativity muscles. Now, the second thing you can do is this. Before you go to sleep, be very intentional. Be very intentional before you go to sleep, because you know that in your sleep, a lot of brilliant ideas are waiting for you. It is not good to go to sleep when you are very stressed out. You expose yourself to a lot of sunlight. You know, you watch a lot of movies before you go to sleep. No. Spend 20 minutes trying to calm yourself before you sleep. Calm down. Think about the most important things to you, the most productive, the most positive things to you. Engineer yourself to sleep creatively before you sleep. Engineer yourself to sleep creatively, before you sleep. One more time. Engineer yourself. Be intentional, because before I sleep, I'm very intentional. 20 minutes before I sleep, or before I feel dizzy, I decide on what I'm going to think about. I decide that my mind is free of any bitterness, any negative thoughts. I decide that, sometimes I'm just making affirmations. I'm just thinking about my theories. I'm thinking about my hypothesis. I'm thinking about my research. You know, it puts me in a flow before I go to sleep. And then when I sleep, I come up with brilliant and beautiful ideas. I come up with beautiful songs, when I wake up, because I have deliberately engineered my sleep. I have deliberately engineered my sleep. Okay, so now there is a lot I have to say on this, but because of time, I have to stop here. I have to stop here and just run through my slides. I have to run through my slides right now. So please come with me. I've defined innovation as intense repetition. Now, the top 10 skills by 2025, innovation will be one of them. And let me just break some things down for you. See, why should we take innovation so seriously? Why should we take innovation so seriously? Let's look at Apple. Apple is the most valuable company in the world. Apple's major products were not existing 20 years ago. Whether it's the iPhone, whether it's the Apple Watch, whether it is the iPad, it came out of innovation. As I speak to you today, the richest man in the world is Elon Musk. He has beat Jeff Bezos. He beat Jeff Bezos yesterday or 2 days ago to become the richest man in the world. His idea or brainchild is Tesla, that has made him the richest man in the world. Tesla is an electric car company, EV, electric vehicles. They're into electric vehicles. It's an innovation. Can't we see that innovation is the way to go? Look at what innovation has done for companies like Zoom. I can go on and on. We don't need to, in fact, so I want to show you some slides right now. Okay, that's it. Innovation saves time. Can you please go to the previous slide? Innovation. This device you see there is called the Hyperloop. This Hyperloop is a new innovation. It's faster than any jets, private jets, public jets. It's one of the fastest ways of transportation. Very soon, with the Hyperloop, you'll be able to transport from Lagos to Kaduna in 20 minutes. Boom, whether it's a cargo, whether it's a human being, whatever you're transporting. Innovation also saves time. Okay. Now, I want to give us some salient truths on innovation very quickly. Some salient truths on innovation. So can we go further down, please? Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Now, you see this man on the screen. This man is called a guy called Tony Fadell. You can research on him, Tony Fadell. He designed the iPod together with Steve Jobs. He was not the CEO of Apple when he designed the iPod with Steve Jobs. He was not the CEO. And what am I trying to say? A lot of us in this training right now may not be the CEOs of our own company, but I want you to know that some of the most brilliant ideas that the world enjoys today, the most value-adding ideas, came from people who were not CEOs of their companies. They were just employees. They were just people like you and I. Yes, some of us are CEOs. Yes, I'm a CEO myself, but they were just normal people. Let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you very much. Next slide. Thank you very much, Lara. In this slide, you see Ken Kutaragi. He was the inventor of PlayStation. Ken Kutaragi is not the CEO of Sony. Up till today, he's not the CEO of Sony. He was just an employee that invented PlayStation. And today, PlayStation is the cash cow, is the most valuable product of of Sony. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, in this picture, you see Sojiro Miyamoto. He was an employee of Nintendo. He invented Nintendo Super Mario, and he was not the CEO. He was just an employee. He was just an employee. These were just normal people, and I can go on and on. I can go on and on with so much examples, but let's move forward. Now, I want to look at some interesting innovators, And this guy is one of my favorite geniuses of all time. I mean, I've studied over 100 geniuses. I've studied Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla. This guy, I love Bruce Lee. Let me tell you why. Bruce Lee invented two-finger push-ups that you can see here. Bruce Lee was an innovator. Two-finger push-ups. He invented speed training. He invented isolated training. He invented compound training, compound movements, and so on and so forth. He was just a great innovator. Now, his innovations were in martial arts. If you are a cook, You can invent recipes. If you are a social media expert, you can invent new trends in social media. You know, like I told you, I'm a trainer. I have invented my own models like selfless esteem. I've invented my own models like empathy engineering and so on and so forth. Somebody invented neuro-linguistic programming. Somebody did that. Somebody invented emotional intelligence, Daniel Goldman. Somebody invented, NLP was invented by Richard Bandler and his friend, John Grinder. Somebody invented mindfulness meditation, Kabat-Zinn. Somebody invented transcendental meditation and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. Okay, Michael Jackson. How many of you know that Michael Jackson was actually an innovator? Michael Jackson was an innovator, whether we like it or not. The moonwalk dance was reinvented by Michael Jackson. Reinvented by Michael Jackson. And then the movie-like videos, all those 10 minutes music videos. Before Michael Jackson, music videos were 2 minutes on MTV. Music videos were 2 minutes, but Michael Jackson came out and his music videos were like movies, like short movies. And nowadays, music videos are like that. They have interludes and they are like movies and all that. Michael Jackson was the first person to bring it out, was the first person to take it to that level, you know. He invented a variation in music videos. Okay, let's move on, please. Thank you. Okay, now, innovations could be trends, industries, practices, lifestyles, languages. Isaac Pitman invented shorthand. Shorthand is a kind of language or writing. Isaac Pitman invented it. It could be a lifestyle, it could be a trend. Look at, in this picture, you see one of my favorite billionaires. His name is Carl Icahn.
Please try again.
His name is Carl Icahn. Carl Icahn was the progenitor of activist investing. It's a way of investing whereby you hold the shareholders, so you hold the directors highly accountable. Look at the next slide. Peter Lindeberg. Peter Lindeberg invented the term supermodel. It was after this picture was taken, one of his pictures was taken, that the term supermodel was invented. So I can go on and on. Now, I want us to do an exercise right now. It's time for an exercise. I want us to, I told you that invention is passionate repetition. Invention is passionate repetition. Now, I want all of us to take the word Linda, and repeat it intensely and passionately. So you're saying Linda, 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 and let us see what will come out of it. And then I want you to do it for 1 minute and then give me your responses. Give me your responses. Let's do it for 1 minute and then give me your responses. So our time starts now. I need to run fast so that I can pass the baton to Lara. Lara is going to blow your mind. So you have 30 seconds more. Just keep on repeating. I told you innovation is intense repetition. So just keep on repeating intensely. Linda, 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 Linda. And let's see what innovation will come out of that. Okay, once you are ready, 1 minute is over. Once you are ready, let us know. Let us know. And then if you want to say something, go ahead and unmute yourself. Or if you want to chat in the box, go ahead and chat. But we have 1 minute to do this so that I can run off. 1 minute to do this, please.
Awesome. Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, what's your name, please? Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Uday Henry. I'm so overblown. Okay, Linda repeatedly. My mind started opening up.
You know what? Now, did you do the exercise? Hello, did you do the exercise?
Yes.
Okay, what word came out of Linda?
Linda. It was more like lean or something.
What word came out of it?
No particular.
Hello? Hello?
An idea of. I don't know if you can hear me. leading came
Okay.
up.
Okay, I can't hear you. Sorry. Okay. Thank you very much. Let me just go to the charts. Let me go to the charts.
Hello.
Okay. Yes. Who is that, please?
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Esther.
Okay.
Esther. Yes,
Okay.
good morning. When I repeated the word, I two words came to me, darling and linger, linger, and
Okay,
darling.
very good. Thank you very much. Now, you know what? In intense repetition, that word darling, or sorry, that word Linda has been reinvented into darling.
Yes, and
That
linger.
has been reinvented into darling and linger and so many other variations. Huh?
Yes, yes.
Yes, so many other variations, because you know what? You just applied a principle of intense repetition, a principle of intense repetition. And so it reinvented itself from Linda to darling. The same way when they took the black and white TV and they worked on it with intense repetition, it reinvented itself into color TV, from color TV to plasma TV, from plasma TV to what did they call it? LED, LCDs, and so on and so forth. The same thing with our phones, from the dial-up phone to the digital phone, intense repetition from dial-up phone to mobile phone, intense repetition from mobile phone to cell phone, intense repetition from cell phone to smartphone, and so on and so forth. So if you engage in intense repetition, you are going to keep on reinventing yourself. You are going to reinvent yourself. You're going to keep on reinventing yourself. Okay, so having said that, now we're going to do two more exercises very quickly. Let's go back to our slides. Let's go further down. I want to talk about how we can go from frustration to innovation. From frustration to innovation. Okay, next slide, please. Can we have? Thank you very much. Now, the picture of the man you see right now on this slide is a man called Harold Giles. Harold Giles. Harold Giles was the inventor of plastic surgery. I told you I have studied about 2,000 of them. He invented plastic surgery, and guess how plastic surgery came out? It was an innovation that came out of frustration. Today, plastic surgery is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It came out of frustration. Next slide, please. I'll tell you the story right in a few seconds. Next slide, please. Okay, yes. Now, you know what? Let me tell you the story of how plastic surgery became an innovation. People will go to war. I think it was after the First World War, and people, these are war veterans. They will come back from war, and their faces will be really impaired due to injuries sustained in the war, at the war front, at the battlefront. And out of frustration, Harold Giles, a war veteran, said, there must be a way we can perform a surgery on a man whose face has been battered based on injuries from war. And guess what? Plastic surgery was invented. I want to share this story with you. One of the richest young people on earth is a lady by the name of Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner. She is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And it came out of her lipstick or lip gloss line. However, her lip gloss line came out of frustration. She didn't like the way her lips were looking. And out of that frustration, she thought to herself, you know what? I should start a lip gloss line, or I should use lip gloss to alter the way my lips look, so that my lips can look more beautiful. And that led to her starting her lip gloss line. And out of that, an invention came forth, or her business idea came forth, and today she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, everybody, I can go on and on. You see, you have frustrations in your life every day. For somebody, it was her lips. She didn't like the way her lips were looking. Let me go to the next slide. you have frustrations in your life as well. And I want to show you how you can convert those frustrations to innovation. Now, you have a picture here of the smartphone or the smart home where every device is connected to a person's phone. The smartphone came out of frustration. A man left his house, he traveled. By the time he came back, the snow had damaged everything in his house. So he said, I must devise a way whereby even when I'm away from my house, I will know of everything that is happening in my house. So the smart home that we have today, that is a multi-billion-dollar industry, was an idea that came out of frustration. Everybody listening to me right now, what frustration in your life have you turned into innovation? What frustration in your life? We're going to have an exercise now. Take a piece of paper and write down the top 5 frustrations in your life. Frustrations at work, frustrations in your family, frustrations in your community, frustrations in your neighborhood, frustrations in your life. Just write it down. Frustrations with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your children, any frustration. Just write down your top 5. We're going to do an exercise now on how you can turn those frustrations into innovation. We have 30 seconds to do so. 30 seconds for this. 30 seconds for this, please. Write down your top 5 innovations. Okay, now, I'm sure you have your top 5 innovations all written down. The next thing is this. The next thing we will do is this. Now, imagine that you did not have those frustrations. Imagine you did not, because it was easier for you. Because it was easier for you to walk around it. Because it was easier for you to walk around it. I'll give you an example. Please stay with me. Please stay with me. Please stay with me. I'll give you an example of how I turned a frustration in my life into innovation. How I turned a frustration in my life into innovation. Okay, so one day I woke up in the morning. I was going to get water from my dispenser, and the dispenser button was too hard. It was very tough, very difficult. I mean, it was too hard. And you have to keep on pressing the dispenser button as long as you want water. It was so frustrating to me. And I was already conscious of the fact that you can turn frustration into innovation. And so you know what I did? Very simply, I just thought to myself, this frustration is an innovation. What is this? It's an innovation now. So I thought to myself, there should be a hands-free dispenser now that if I just create sensors, a dispenser that has sensors, so when a glass comes near the sensor, it just begins to let out water, just begins to dispense water. And because it has sensors, when it's getting close to the brim, it stops automatically. So I created in my imagination and in my conceptualization a hands-free dispenser out of what? Frustration, out of frustration. I will share another example with you. This example is funny. If you don't laugh, I won't give you a gift. If you don't laugh, I will not give you a gift, because I know my spirit bears me witness that it is funny. And if you don't laugh, it means that your problem is more than my gifting. Okay, so let's go on. See you. I went to go and see one very beautiful girl 2 weeks ago. I was 2 weeks, or like 4 weeks ago. Very beautiful girl like this. So we're just chilling. So spend time together. So after the get together, after we spent time together, I was going back to my house. Okay, first I had to go from Magodo, driving down to Lekki. So I drove down to Lekki. I was about to get into the gate of my estate. And I was just consulting for her. It was just a consultancy job, that I went to go and do it with her. So I was driving down into my estate. A vulcanizer told me that the tires of my car had gotten flat, were flat, totally flat. I said, how come? It's not possible now. This car is like a brand new car. It's a brand new car actually. So why should the tire go flat? So I came down and funny enough, the tire had gone flat and I didn't notice. And I don't think I was listening to loud music in my car or anything. So I came down and I wanted to fix it. So I don't have to fix it. And then when he brought the tire out, guess what he told me? He said, the tire is totally condemned. That the tire got flat long ago and I was driving with it and I didn't notice at all. I didn't notice at all. So I went back home and was very, very, very pissed. I was like, what kind of rubbish is this now? My mind started calculating how much for a brand new tire, especially with the kind of car that I drive. And I was like, but you know what? I told myself that every frustration is an innovation. Every frustration is an innovation. Yeah? So I came up with an idea of how your car can alert you when there's any discrepancy in the size of the tires, so that you don't have to wait until you have a flat tire until you know. So I conceived an idea out of frustration. So you see, in the same vein, tell yourself, okay, what are the frustrations in my life? And what are the innovations that can come out of it? What are the innovations that can come out of it? So we're not going to do this now. I'm going to give you 1 minute for this, 1 minute for this, 1 minute for this, but I want you to go with it throughout this week and even throughout this month, and then try to build yourself in that line so that you can begin to train yourself to turn frustration into innovation. There are many, so I can share dozens of examples. Elon Musk has a company called The Boring Company. They turn traffic into an innovation. I know somebody, a Nobel Prize winner, who turned poverty into an innovation, a bank that gives collateral free loans. So you can turn poverty as a frustration into an innovation, traffic, anything. In fact, they can steal your phone and you come up with an innovation that makes it impossible for them to steal any phone. It's true. You can do it, so that's it. So now please, can anybody categorically come up and tell us that, okay, this is a frustration I've written down and these are the innovations that can come out of it in just 1 minute, so that we can move on. Just 1 minute on how a frustration in my life that I think I can turn into an innovation. A frustration in my life that I think I can turn into innovation. Anybody in the next 1 minute, anybody. If there's no one, I'll just move on to the next one. Anybody, you want to chat, you can chat in or speak. You can chat in or speak. Okay, if I don't hear anything in the next 30 seconds, then I'll just move on to the next thing so that we move on. Okay, now let's move on. The next key to innovation. The next key to innovation is what I call fixation. Yeah, very good, fixation. Okay, next slide, please. In the next slide, you will see a picture of America's next top model. I told you the story earlier on, Now, what is innovation based on fixation? Now, it is just taking brilliant ideas or brilliant ideas in other spheres, or brilliant or unique features in different spheres, and cropping them into a different sphere. I'll take that one more time. It is taking brilliant features in a particular sphere and importing them into a different sphere. So the same way there was a reality show for America, I called American Idol for music stars. Tyra Banks started one for fashion models. We have reality shows for comedians. How many of you just finished watching Nigeria's next top comedy star? How many of you saw people like Akporoko and what's his name? The other guy, Netufo, or what's his name? So all those stars anyway. Caxton and all that, So that is an idea that was born out of what? Fixation. Okay, I will share two of mine with you. I told you that I have created what I call the Isiewu shawarma. What I did was that I thought to myself that, okay, if we have shawarma as a foreign delicacy, why can't we have an African or a cultural version or adaptation of shawarma? And that was how I created shawarma with very delicious leafy, our own traditional leafy vegetables, and a little bit of animal-based protein. And I called my own Isiewu shawarma. So that's innovation based on fixation. Then the second innovation that I created was the cufflink sandal. So I thought to myself, I want to create a unique sandal, The next question is this: what other thing do people wear apart from sandals? People wear jeans, people wear belts. So what unique thing can I take from a belt to a sandal? What unique thing can I take from a dress shirt to a sandal, from a cardigan, from a windbreaker to a sandal, from a hat to a sandal? And as you think like that, you begin to come up with ideas. So I thought to myself that my dress shirts have cufflinks. Why can't I have a sandal with cufflinks as well? And that was how I created, the cufflink sandal. That was how I created the cufflink sandal. That's how I created the cufflink sandal. And I have created other inventions as well, many other ones as well. Okay, now I want us to do an exercise now. Everybody has participated in this exercise. We are going to create a kind of restaurant with the same approach. We are going to create a unique restaurant. Apart from restaurants, where are the other places that people go to visit? Let's start to contribute. This is a practical class, and if you want to gain the best out of this class, you are better suited to participate in. So I want to show you how to create a unique idea from the scratch. We want to create a unique restaurant, not just like a normal restaurant that you go to, that everybody, the seats are in a particular way, the ambience is in a particular way, and everything. We want to create a unique restaurant. What are the kind of places that people go to? A restaurant, if people don't go to a restaurant, what are the other places? Just like I created, people go to supermarkets. Okay, very beautiful, Abdul Salam. What are the unique things in a supermarket? That we can bring into a restaurant? Is it possible that we can have aisles in a restaurant where people can see what they are going to eat and just pick it? Hello? I think I'm coming up with some eureka moments right now. You get it now? Yes? Mary, you want to say something? Somebody just said something. Somebody said something just now. Somebody said that somebody said we can a garden. Okay, so why can we have a garden restaurant? A restaurant that is just looks like a garden. It's open, it's very open, it looks like a garden and all that. Can we have a garden restaurant? A garden restaurant. Can we have an aquatic restaurant? The same way. You see, ideas are coming up. Okay, what can we, somebody says a club or a cinema. Very good. A club or a cinema. Can we have a restaurant whereby it's just a glass that separates the kitchen from the restaurant? So I can see what is actually happening in the restaurant. I can see what is happening. I can actually see what is happening. Yeah? Can you see? Ideas are coming up. Do you know why? Because we are stepping out of the box. We are stepping out of the restaurant to say, okay, what about a club? What about a garden? What about a nightclub, a cinema? What about a village kitchen? What about this? What about that? What about a supermarket? What about a garage? Why are we not talking about what about a garage? What about a wrestling stadium, a boxing ring? Why can't a restaurant be built like a boxing ring? Why can't we have a sports restaurant? Man, Adekanmi, you are too much. You are fantabulous. You are doing well. You see, why can't we have a sports themed restaurant where the cubicles or the seats are like a boxing ring. This one is like a golf course. This one is like a table tennis, ping pong table and all that. Why can't we have a restaurant that is like a downfall, eh? You know, guess what? That one will be good because I like restaurant whereby people don't have to see me and who I'm talking to and what we are doing and how we are laughing at each other. So a restaurant that is like a cubicle, just like you have offices that have cubicles, man. Restaurant that have cubicles. Can you see? Ideas are flying. Ideas are just flying. Do you know why? Because we have taken. Hey, Lara says she's loving all the ideas. Yes, excellent. And somebody says a mobile restaurant. Excellent, very good. So we can start the restaurant in Lagos and we can end up in Abuja. Wonderful. Who said that? You see, can you see how ideas are just flowing? In fact, hey, I'm fantabulous. I'm doing well. I say I'm doing well. Yes. So we can have a concert restaurant. Hey, why can't a restaurant be like a concert? Why can't a restaurant be like a concert? Hello? Has anybody thought about that? Why can't a restaurant be like a debate? In a debate, I mean, don't say my ideas are crazy, because when you start saying ideas are crazy, when you say ideas are crazy, you are killing your creativity. So when a child is playing, you say the child, what's the child playing? What's the child saying? Yeah. You are killing the creativity of a child. No, don't try to kill my creativity. So I will report you to Lara, and Lara is a big bitch. She's a big girl. She will deal with you in a very innovative way, for that matter. A spa experience restaurant. See, people are coming up with fantastic ideas. Yes. So we are making progress. So I hope we all understand. Okay, so we are making progress. I hope you understand now. So you see, that's the way I create my ideas. And that's where I created every idea. My type of meditation, that's where I created it. For example, okay, let me practice my type of meditation before I move to the final slide and pass the baton to Lara. I need to pass the baton to Lara in the next 5 minutes. Now, let me practice my kind of meditation for you that I invented. Now, in my kind of meditation, you take verses. It could be verses from anywhere, ancient proverbs, any religious book, and you just say it. You say it offhand, but as you're saying it, it's helping your ability to focus, and you are enhancing your memory. It's called memory activated and vocalized meditation. So if anybody mentions any number of the proverbs, I'll quote it from beginning to the end from my head. I can do like 10 verses because of time, 10 verses. Just mention any chapter in Proverbs. I will quote it. But you know what? As I'm not just quoting, I'm actually meditating. So I'm training my memory. I'm training my focus. I'm training myself to be still and know. That's my own type of meditation that I invented. It's called mad meditation. Oh yeah, somebody mention any chapter in Proverbs from 1 to 31. I'll do it right now. And I'm not looking at anything. I'll close my eye as I'm doing it. I'll close my eye. Proverbs 16. Okay, I'm going to quote Proverbs 16 from verse 1 to 10. So verse 1. The preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Verse 2. All the ways of man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. Verse 3. To do justice and commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Verse 4. The Lord had made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Verse 5. Everyone that is proud in heart is abomination unto the Lord, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Verse 6, by mercy and truth, iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil. Verse 7, when a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh his enemies to be at peace with him. Verse 8, better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without right. Verse 9, commit thy works unto thy Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. Verse 10, this is not safe for a fool, much more for a servant. No. Righteous, no. It is a divine sentence, a divine sentence is in the lips of king, his mouth transgresseth not in judgment. Verse 11, a just weight and balance are the Lord, all the weights of the bag are his work. Verse 12, it is abomination for kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by mercy. Verse 13, Righteous lips are the delight of kings. They love him that speaketh right. Verse 14, the wrath of the king is as messengers of death, but a wise man will pacify it. Verse 15, in the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain. Verse 16, better is it to be, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. So, but you know what I've done? I have trained myself. I'm training my memory, number one. I'm training my ability to focus by meditating like this, number two. And then I'm training myself to concentrate and be attentive. And then I'm training myself. I told you that repetition leads to innovation. As I'm repeating myself, repeating one verse, repeating the other, and I'm doing it every day and every day, I'm training my innovation muscles. So that's how I invented my own type of meditation, by saying, okay, what can I bring out of a recitation into my innovation or things like that, so anybody can innovate. Okay, so I need to pass the baton to Lara in the next 5 minutes, 2-3 minutes, like I said. So we go to the next slide. Next slide. No, Lara, can we go to the previous slide? Sorry, Lara, can we go? Previous one. Previous. Okay, now, no, the next one, sorry. No, previous one. The one that has the bed sheets. Yes, now, you can see these Gucci bed sheets. And you can see the Gucci, everything Gucci. Now, somebody said to himself that if my clothes are designer clothes, why can't my furniture be designer furniture? Why can't my furniture be designer furniture? If my clothes are designer clothes, why can't my furniture be designer furniture? And that was how designer furniture was created. And today it's a multi-billion-dollar industry as well. And that man was Karl Lagerfeld. He passed away 2 years ago. One of my favorite geniuses, iconic man. I love that man so much. He was an innovator, an excellent thinker. Okay. So next slide. Okay, from familiarization to innovation. This is taking brilliant ideas and reinventing them, or adapting them into a different landscape. I'll take it one more time. Taking a brilliant idea and adapting them into a different landscape. One more time. Taking brilliant ideas and adapting them into a different landscape. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I'll show you very quickly. You will enjoy this session. Now, that's a smart cooler. You can see a smart cooler now. You know what somebody said? Somebody said, if we have a smartphone, why can't I have a smart cooler? Now, this cooler can refrigerate your drinks. It can refrigerate your drinks for 4 days non-stop. It's called a smart cooler from Yeti. Can you imagine? It can it can keep your drinks cool for 4 days non-stop, or 4 days. 4 days non-stop. Now, let's go on. Next slide. This is a smart gun. Now, if you are not the owner of this gun, it will not cock, because it has recognition technology. It was created by a German company. Somebody just said, if we have smartphone, why can't we have smart gun? You know what? You can have your smart wig. Lara, both of us can start a smart wig. It's a wig that is yellow on Monday and blue on Tuesday. A wig that is Brazilian on Wednesday and Indian on Thursday. Lara, what do you think? Lara, omit your phone. Lara, we can make a lot of money this year with our smart innovation. Okay, so guess what?
I'm laughing and rolling on the floor.
Yes, you know what? Yes, Lara, on a more serious note, we have to make it. In fact, Lara, both of us, we have to make it to Time Magazine this year. All these ones that we are just being very humble, we're just being very quiet. We can't continue like that. So Lara and I are going to start a smart week. Make sure you don't patent it. We'll go to the patent office on Monday and patent it. You can start what's up. You can start a smart shirt that can regulate its temperature. You can think of smart anything. So today we have, do you know that you have a smart, we have a smart microwave oven. I'm telling you the truth. This microwave oven, you can control it. You can control it on your phone. You can see how the food is rolling. You can see how the food is being warmed on your phone. So you can be upstairs. Your microwave is downstairs in the kitchen, and you are seeing everything that is happening. You don't. And guess what? A drone can bring the food to you from your kitchen to your. And the drone is not a witch. It's not witchcraft. It's a normal drone. The drone will bring your food to you from your kitchen to your bedroom upstairs where you are living in. Yes, I'm going to order for some very soon. Lara, I'll send one to your house as well. I'll send one to you as well. Our smart microwave oven. Yes. So Lara, get ready for that. I can send it to you in as quick as less than 2 weeks. I'm sure you like that. That can microwave your food. That can microwave your food. I can send it to you. Okay, Chisom says a pen that automatically makes writing legible. Let me read what Chisom says. A pen that automatically makes writing legible for medical doctors. Very good. You know, medical doctors, some of their handwritings, God will help us in Jesus' name. Sorry about that. I can be very relaxed and informal during my training. So that's it. So let's go to the next few slides. There's a smart gun. Now that's a smart water bottle. That water bottle can refrigerate your drinks for about 2 days as well. It's a smart water bottle. Next slide. This is a smart glasses. You can read your emails on these glasses. And I'm not talking about, you can buy it right now on Amazon. It sells for $1,000, I guess. Smart glasses on Amazon for $1,000. Let's go on, please. Now, from fortuity to innovation, I covered this in the beginning. I covered this in the beginning. I said that when you engage in passionate repetition, you just stumble on innovations. You were not planning for them. You just stumble on them. You're not planning for them. You just stumble on them. You just stumble on them like that. You just stumble on them like that. Okay. So before I hand over to Lara, okay, chewing gum. Okay, chewing gum was an innovation that came out of fortuition. Let me just tell you the story. Thomas Adams was a rubber worker. One day he tossed a piece of rubber into his mouth and it tasted very nice. It tasted nice, like something that could draw and was edible. And then he said, okay, you know what? I'm going to make an edible delicacy, or something that is edible that is rubberized. And that was how chewing gum was invented. Even the microwave oven that I spoke about, it came out of fortuity or fortuition. People were not planning to make it, but they were in a state of what? Passionate repetition. Don't forget that. Now, so before I hand the baton to Lara, let me do a little icebreaker, just a little icebreaker. I want to perform one of my songs. How many of you are ready to hear my song before Lara comes on? This is our halftime or our break time. Just relax yourself. Lara is going to blow your mind. I've told you, just relax. Just relaxing yourself, everybody. Everybody, just relaxing yourself here. If you want to hear my song, I wrote this song. Please wave at me now. Send something. Give me some encouragement. It's only Deborah that I can see. Or who else? Song before I pass the baton to Lara. One more person. Just give me a shout out and then I'll start. Just one more person. Oh, let's go. Yeah. Yeah. More than a crush. I think I had a physical crush. I met Bimpe in baptismal class. Infatuated.
Wow.
Wait, everybody, wait. I'm going to start again. Don't say anything. I'm very talented, I know, but don't say anything. Let me just rap my rap and then you can come in later. Do you understand? So let's start. More than a crush. I think we had a physical crush. I met Bimpe in baptismal class. Infatuated. I didn't think it could last. I'm glad we waited for God's will to come to pass. She was fair. She was fine. I could tell she was mine.
She was every blessed thing that any man could ever think or want. Classy, sassy, finer than Cassie. My pretty hallelujah. She's my Ashanti. You remind me of Brazil. You play with so much skill. You remind me of Argentina. I sing you an a cappella. You remind me of Dubai, the cedars in July. You are beautiful. I'm sure you look wonderful tonight. I'm very talented. You know what? And all these ones, I wrote it out of the same principles I've been. In fact, I have many more verses. I have plenty more. I can write songs for that video. I can write. So this year, my innovations, you will see me in Guinness Book of World Record this year. So without much ado, I'll pass the baton to the incredible, the genius, the enterprising, the unforgettable, Lara Yeku. Okay, Lara, over to you. Thank you very much, everybody. I know I always know I'm very talented. I've always known I'm very talented. Very talented guy. Very talented.
Thank you. Thank you, Adekanmi. I think that was powerful. You can tell from the responses in the chat room. Thank you so much. We've overrun our time, and I have just very few minutes to wrap up with design thinking. So like I mentioned earlier, the whole essence of design thinking here is just for us to see how can we bring all of this together into a form of methodology. And thank you, Adekanmi, for making it very relatable with those stories. I mean, from his session, you can bear witness with me that it's not just theory, but of course, stories and experiences of people that have used those models and how they have come up with very innovative products. So today is just around design thinking. When we talk about design thinking, people always ask, oh, what is it really about? It's not just a framework, I tell people, but it's a mindset because it's people-centered, it's focusing on people. I mean, from all the inventions that Adekanmi shared and a whole lot of others that we know, you can bear witness with me that they solve human problem in one way or the other. When he asked us to list frustrations that we encountered, the top 5, I had more than 5. I think I had almost like 10. Because the truth is, every day we are faced with frustration. You know, the ones that sort of affects you directly and the ones that do not affect you directly, maybe indirectly. I mean, every day is frustration here and there in the news, everywhere. But the whole essence for us today is how can we begin to shift our mindset around how we see frustration, around how we see challenges, around how we see obstacles, even at work on a daily basis. I'm hoping that in the next few minutes, I will just to sort of gloss over how design thinking helps bring all of this together into a form of methodology. Like I mentioned, design thinking is about the mindset, really. So it's not just about, oh, how do I go from identifying here to there? No, fundamentally is understanding the building blocks from the principles, from the concepts, from the framework and the approach. How can we put all of this together to ensure that we have that innovative mindset? Design thinking, in a nutshell, is using designers' toolkit. I mean, when Adekanmi was talking about the inventions, if you notice, there's a pattern to those inventions. First, it starts with identifying, being aware of challenges and problems. I mean, when he talked about waking up in the morning and going to his water dispenser, from that awareness that, oh, why is this like this? Then that leads to questioning. And you're questioning, why is this like this? How can this change? What can we do differently, or what can I do differently? And if you understand design thinking, so it's using those methodologies, those toolkits that designers use. I mean, the history around design thinking is way back into the 60s and 70s, where a lot of people understood the concept of trying to understand human needs, human requirements, and then coming up with ideas, concepts that will best suit or make the human life easier. So invention, I would say, rests on solving problems to improve the way of living. I mean, from all the examples that he shared, it's around improving the way of living. From Albert Einstein that found electricity, is all around improving human lives. So that's using the concept, the various tools to solve problems. Now, we have a lot of toolkits, a lot of them. When it talks about empathy engineering, it's also similar to empathy mapping. That's a design toolkit. And when we talk about scenario, as is scenario, that's a design toolkit. And what that does is, those are the various things that designers use to come up with solution. So in a nutshell, it's really around what do designers use? They are all very basic concepts, from how we relate, what's our mindset, what are the behaviors, that comes to how we respond to frustrations and challenges around us. I already talked about the various toolkits. I won't go into details, but all of this is centered towards helping you find that fit for purpose solution to whatever issues, frustration that you're encountering. And from this, it can also be an approach to use for fixation, where you know that for you to understand how the other person is feeling, you need to focus on understanding how they are feeling at that point. What are they seeing? What is their frustration? What is going on through their mind? What are their pains? So that's all various form of designer toolkits and technique. Now, part of it is also questioning as well. I mean, there's a whole lot. I just highlighted and listed a few here in front of us. You can Google this. So if you also understood from Adekanmi's session, it talked a whole lot around the human behavior, understanding the human brain. And for me, it speaks to our ingenuity. When it talks about intense repetition leads to innovation, so it's really understanding what leads to that, and it centers on our behavior. By the time you constantly and repeatedly sort of focus on something, you are building neural pathways in your brain. And what that means is you're getting very familiar to that. The brain loves the familiar. So when you're repeating things constantly, you're making your brain get very familiar to that thing. And that way it opens up your amygdala and your creativity juices sort of comes up. Now, sometimes we have limiting behaviors or limiting beliefs that can impede or obstruct our creativity. Now, design thinking is all around understanding the ways and behavior that encourages you to be in that state of being creative. It's around understanding that, one, you don't judge. Sometimes we're in meetings and, sometimes someone says something and you're laughing at that person and saying, kilo tenshele, what is that all about? No, what you do at that point is you are shutting down that person's tendency to come up with any creative idea or suggestion. All you need to do is just to probe. No idea is a bad idea, but design thinking behavior is all around probing and asking further questions. So you don't judge people when you're in the midst of people or when you're having conversations. You allow people to come up with different scenarios. I enjoyed the innovation session when it was talking about restaurant. What do we see? For me, that's ideation in design thinking. When you call everybody in and, guys, what do you think about this? This is what we want to solve. And you're opening an opportunity for everybody around you to give you ideas. I was listening to someone yesterday, and we're talking about different form of ideas, and I heard the story of how a gatesman was the one that gave a company an idea that changed the entire bottom line for that company. Was just a gatesman. So we need to encourage wild ideas, which is what we've demonstrated today from Adekanmi's session. We also need to encourage plussing. I mean, plussing is that technique where you further probe and allow people to iterate more on their ideas. When somebody says something, you're asking, okay, really, what do you think? Why, how, when? Okay, what if? And all of that is just around design thinking. At the end of the day, when those ideas come up, then you go for the best option. So design thinking now is when you now begin to further break it down to analyze and understand from a benefit perspective, from a realistic perspective. Okay, this will work for us now. This is what we can do now. This we can move to later. This still need more work. You begin to weigh all the options, that you go for the best option. It's one conversation at a time, giving room for a lot of people to share their ideas. I mean, it's also staying focused. When you talk about fixation to innovation, when you are fixed on something, you are focusing on that thing. When he spoke about waking up in the morning and optimizing your first 1 hour, your creative and childhood brain, your I think they call it the delta phase of your brain. At that point, you are focusing on what is important for you to achieve that, and that is intentionality. You wake up in the morning, you are very intentional. You don't just pick up your phone and you're chatting, but you are very intentional. You set and plan your day. It's time boxing. I mean, he already spoke about the various levels of brain strength that we experience during the day. Our brain is like a child. In the afternoon, we are logical and analytical. In the evening, we are reflective. So that's understanding the various time phases and your brain activities. So it's about human-centered, focusing on solutions, about bringing value. At the end of the day, you agree with me that when you're talking about innovation and invention, they all bring value. They all bring values around creating unique opportunities, iterating, going over and over and over and over again. There was a day I was chatting with a young lady, and I told her, tell me about yourself. And of course, I would use the word recited. So she recited the usual, I'm a problem solver, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. And I said, no, tell me more about yourself. By the time I asked the same question 3 times, she paused and she was like, oh, now I'm struggling. I said, okay, just go on. By the time she gave me the 5th response to that question, tell me about herself, she was wowed. I mean, she was able to dig further into herself, to share more about, those innate abilities that she's gotten beyond just the surface. So sometimes we need to iterate, go over it over and over and again, and let's stay focused with a purpose. I always tell people, design thinking behavior entails having fun. I mean, the research has also shown, which Adekanmi has also alluded to earlier, that when you are in a creative state, you are in that childhood state, you are in the best form of yourself. I mean, at that point where, there's a lot of ideas that are just coming forth and all of. So please be mindful and be intentional about the state that you're in. Don't take yourself too seriously. Learn to have fun as you come up with creative ideas. So in a nutshell, there are lots and lots of definition of design thinking online, but I would just like to state here that it's really around the new way of thinking, and innovation is that way of thinking and learning. That's just design thinking, really. And when we say a new way of thinking, is you focusing on the end user, the result you want to achieve. And all of that rests on empathy, human-centered thinking, empathy, putting yourself in the shoes of the person, the next person you want to solve for, and understanding how they might be feeling, what are their pain points, and turning those pain points to opportunity. Those frustrations that people face, seeing it in the light of bringing solution and opportunity to people. But we need to have the mindset. I remember there was a day I was going to work, and along Eric Moore Road, there was traffic. I mean, we were in that traffic for like an hour, 45 minutes. By the time I got to the point where the bottleneck that it was causing the traffic, I was so disgusted. I mean, I was disgusted. What was the cause of this traffic? I think I'd shared it before. There was a pothole, and a lot of cars had to converge into a single lane to be able to pass through the pothole. And some cars were actually, the tires of some cars were actually getting stuck in that pothole. But guess what? We had lots of area boys, able-bodied men helping cars to lift, their tires and collecting money and all of that. And I just said to myself, if only these guys could just go around and look for big stones, pour the stones in the pothole, level it up, the cars would move freely and there will be no traffic. And the expense of energy that they are also using to lift cars from the pothole and all of that will all drive through easily and there will be no traffic. But no one was thinking of that, So it's really around how do we respond to challenges, to frustration, and turning it into opportunity for us. So very, very quickly, I have an icebreaker. They won't be able to make money. But at the end of the day, the money they are making, carrying tires, it tells on your body. There's wear and tear. And sometimes it's not everybody that would pay, So it's really not around everybody making money out of people. But the fulfillment that we get, right, in solving some problem would equally help us. So quick icebreaker for everyone. All right. So you can see the figure on my screen. Can you turn this figure to a 5 without taking out any letter? Turn it to a 5. Somebody, you can go off mute and share your response. Anyone, very quickly, 30 seconds. I have 5 minutes to wrap up this session. Hello. What's the question? Okay, can you turn the I and V that you can see? This Roman figure 4. Can you turn this Roman figure 4 to a 5 without taking out any letter? The question is, can you turn the, okay, Mike hand is raised. So Mike, can we have your response? Efiko.
Hi.
Mike.
Hello, Lara. Good to be here.
Same here. Good to have you.
I'm not sure if I'm right, but if I rotated the two characters and I added a straight line to join the top of the I and the top of the V.
Innovation class. So, hey, people are innovating. Wow. All right. So we turn it. We turn it and we add. We turn and we add another strike, right?
I'll put a stroke at the top of the I and the top of the V, and then I'll rotate the what I now have.
Fantastic rotation. That's one approach. Fantastic. Thank you, rotation. That was awesome. Awesome. Thanks. Anyone else? Very quickly. How do we make this Roman figure 4 into a 5 without deleting? We have one suggestion already to rotate and add. Yes. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Mike. I think that was a brilliant one. The beautiful thing about innovation, like I mentioned, is the fact that you always probe further to come up with various forms of solving problems. All right, so another way to solve it is just to add F and E, and that makes it a 5. Okay, so thanks, Michael. We can rotate it. I don't have a whiteboard. I would have been able to, make that demo. We can rotate and add, or you can add F and E, and that makes it a 5. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm not sure we'll be able to do this exercise really because of our time. It was meant to be like a very quick, and design thinking session where we come up with problems, frustration, that something something we're not really familiar with. So that's the whole concept. I'll just talk about around the concept. It's really around being tossed with a challenge in an unfamiliar way, in an unfamiliar zone. I mean, if you're asking a guy to solve the labor pain for women, I mean, he's never experienced it before. For him, it's going to be how, Maka, why? How do I get to do that? Or you're asking a female to come up with ideas on how to improve the gaming experience of the Fantasy Premier League. I mean, especially for females that are not used to football and all of that. The usual approach would, you'll be wondering, okay, what's this about? I mean, it'll be nice to get one or two responses. If you're tossed with this challenge to solve a problem that it's something you're not usually something you're not familiar with. I mean, the first reaction would be, come on, what's this? I'm not I'm not used to this. Because of time, we'll not be able to go through it. But really, what I want to just walk us through is when it comes to innovation, sometimes, right? The first state that we are in is in a state of confusion. You're uncertain, you're unclear. You're wondering, what is this about? How? So it's okay. The whole essence is the way the brain is wired is, the brain is wired to keep you in a state of safety at all times. So whatever you're not familiar with, your brain typically would want to take that away from you. So sometimes the first reaction you would experience when you're faced with frustration is that state of uncertainty and unclear, and you're wondering, how do I go about this? But the beautiful thing is, with time, as time goes on, when you begin to apply the methodology around innovation, questioning, asking questions, probing, you will realize that you open up your mind to be able to seek ideas and solutions. By the time those ideas start coming forth, really, then it becomes to get clearer to you. And at that point, when you understand what exact solution you want to achieve, then you are fixated on and you are staying focused on that. So sometimes innovation is a journey. That's what I'm trying to explain to everyone. The idea that comes out at you, sometimes you might be wondering, how on earth am I going to make this work? It's okay. It's part of life, but the essence and the essence is for us to just ensure that we stay focused on the intent outcome we want to achieve. Because of our time, we cannot go into our schedule time already. Typically would have asked people to design, So the whole essence is, if you are asked to come up with an idea or a solution, design thinking encourages us to think of things as a verb, not as a noun. I would explain. It's really around not just solving that thing, but looking beyond that thing into other areas that will bring benefits, to that problem you are trying to solve. So somebody says, design a verse for me, and somebody says, okay, take the verse, you can have it. Or you move away from just designing a verse, but to design something more creative. And when you get into that state of creativity, is at the point where you are looking beyond the verse, but you are looking at it from various dimensions. You are thinking, okay, where would this verse be placed? Is it going to be a standing verse? Is it going to be a table verse? Is it going to be by the window? What kind of flower will it be in it? Will it be fresh flowers? Will it be in artificial flowers? What's the make and the kind of the verse? So it's you asking questions. What that does, it opens up your whole brain. I mean, the creativity juices that comes out of your brain, you're opening it up, you're asking questions, you're designing, you're expanding the scope of your creativity. And this really is what innovation is all about, and it helps you to come up with the best thought and idea. Because I'm really rushing because of time, right? So please pardon me. I'm very mindful of time. Questions are the answer. So let's begin. Let's learn to ask questions. I mean, questions around what is this going to be all about? What do we want to achieve? What is the best we can get out of this? What are the other options? How is this going to be done? As at when, So let's question things more rather than complain. I tell people, replace your complaint with questions. Replace your complaints with questions. Complaints shuts your brain when you encounter obstacles or frustration. Questioning opens your creativity and it opens your brain up. So replace complaints with questioning. In a nutshell, design thinking is when you put people at the core of everything, technology and business ideas and all that you're trying to come up with. So it's an understanding that you're not just creating solutions for people to come and use, but rather you're creating things around people to help improve, the way of living. I'm going to end here. When we talk about design thinking process, it's really starting from being focused on your end user. From all the inventions and innovation examples that Adekanmi shared, they were all focused on solving people problems. From solving people problems to understanding those people, to understanding the objectives you want to achieve, and taking decisions to ensure that you're not judgmental, but giving opportunity for others to also come up with ideas. When he talked about, anybody can innovate. You don't have to just be the business owner or the CEO, but even employees to innovate and bring ideas on the table. Understanding how we respond to pain points is not just around looking at frustration and moving on, but asking questions and looking for options to solve, turn those frustrations to innovation. It's around questioning, seeking to understand. Please, let's be on mute if you're not talking. There are a couple of interferences at the background. Thank you. Innovation around sharing your ideas. When somebody comes to you to say, oh, I have this idea. I mean, when Adekanmi was singing about his intended love song, we should encourage more of that, because that helps people to feel relaxed. I never can tell where, the best ideas will come from. So it's about moving from diverged thinking of feeling frustrated, to trying to take your time and calm your nerves. Stay focused on what will give you the best outcome. It's about allowing and giving room more to things. It's about prioritizing your day. I mean, he's giving us a whole lot of information around how when our brain is active and how do you prioritize and optimize your day. I mean, when you have clarity on the ideas you want to come up with or the solution you want to come up with, sometimes it's not all the ideas that would come to fruition, but understanding that there's a place for us to review, analyze, to understand the impact, what can be done now and later, and keeping it simple. I mean, keep it simple. What is the simplest, quickest way to solve whatever problem that you're encountering? And that way we're able to bring value. It's not just value, but fit for purpose, value. On that note, I want to say thank you to everyone for attending this session. Because of time, I had to rush through my session, but I believe that with what myself and Adekanmi have shared with everyone today, we will become more intentional with innovation. I mean, we are looking forward to having a lot of Nigerians also invent great and beautiful things. One of the benefits of COVID-19, you agree with me, was a lot of creativity came to people, from people, from organizations. Even when the co-hotel had to delve into other business opportunities. That's all innovation, understanding the times we are in, identifying where the value is, and of course, going for it and coming up with fit for purpose solution for the problem we encounter. So on that note, I'll hand over back to Adekanmi. I think we can take questions very, very briefly before we end today's session. Thank you. Adekanmi, back to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Lara. Thank you very much. Before we take questions, I want to just mention that I'll just mention some of our resources. Lara has an amazing book called the HR Storybook, my HR Storybook. I'm sure she will give us the links on how we can get them if we're interested in them. I have a book on innovation as well. It's called Make Me Effective. So I'll send the links. I'll put the links there on how you can get it right now. I'll chat it in the box. And then Lara will give you her social media handle so that you can follow her if you want to, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, and whatever one. She'll give it to you right now. She'll chat it in the box, I guess. And then I'll do my own as well so that you can follow us, because a lot of things, the problem with the issue with these trainings is that because of time, we are not able to do as much as we can do. So it's not very thorough. And that's one area that I think that I would like to us to improve on concerning some of these online trainings, so that people don't just come for a training, people become actually very innovative. So we hope that there will be further interventions. I know that Lara is very passionate about this, but what you got from this training is just a part of it. There's much more. There's much more. There's a part of it. So right now, we will entertain questions. Please send in your questions while we'll chat, and in the box, we'll chat in how you can get our resources, our books, and how you can follow us on social media, and how you can connect and communicate with us. Thank you very much. So we can begin to send in our questions or ask them. You can unmute yourself and ask your questions, or yes, please. We are expecting your questions. Hello, can you please, if you have questions, can you just type them in or ask them? That's we're in the final segment now. We're just trying to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
So we have a question in the chat box from Ayo. Adekanmi.
Okay, Ayo says, please, how do you enhance innovative skills in children? Very good. Very good question. A toddler, to be precise. Okay, very good. Now, what I'll say to you is this. Because the toddler is still within the first 7 years of his or her life, I'll say to you that you should teach the child how to engage in passionate repetition. So you can play with your toddler games that have to do with passionate repetition. For example, pass the ball to me, I pass it to you, or anything that has to do with the child doing a thing repetitively. A child, once, please, let's go back to that Magna Carta of innovation that I said. I said, innovation is passionate or intense repetition. Let the child, and you know what? Let the child engage in anything. It might be a game, it might be an exercise. I don't know how old the toddler is exactly, but if the child can do anything repetitive, for example, you can play very good, 3 years, good. Now, you know what? Do you know that the same way I memorized the entire book of the Bible, book of Proverbs, you can play a particular quote or song to the child and let the child hear it over time. If a child hears a thing repetitively, you are activating the innovation center of the child's brain. So, Ayo, one of the things you can do is that
And a lot of us, you know what, we waste the brains of our children innocently without knowing. The child, did you know that a child can learn 3 languages as long as the child is less than 7 years old? When the child becomes 7 years old, the child becomes a logical and analytical thinker. That's why teenagers want to have explanations. A teenager wants you to explain, okay, why should I not go for that party? Why should I not get a tattoo? Because a teenager is in the logical and analytical stage of life. But a toddler is not like that. A toddler is in the curiosity and creativity phase of life. Curiosity and creativity phase of life. And in that phase, you know what? Just make sure that they are hearing things repetitively and and consistently. Your child, you know what? You can strengthen a child's memory like that. The child can learn anything. Learn a lot of songs, learn a lot of the whatever religious book, anything, just passionate repetition. Then repetitive games, like I said, repetitive practices, anything, just understand, get the child to be aching to passionate repetition. The third thing you can do is that allow the child freedom to express himself, as long as it's not going to be a danger to the child or it's not going to be endangering to the child. So what do I mean? When a child is saying, and you say, shut up, what are you saying? You are killing the
Adekanmi, we can't hear you again. We can't hear you. No, we can't. Very faintly.
I don't know what.
Okay,
I don't know why.
You're back now.
Okay. Now, like I said, so please let me just repeat myself. I said, let the child play games that engage in repetition. You pass the ball to me, I pass the ball to you. I run to this side, you run to this side. And you know all those kind of games that have to do with repetition. Let the child also hear things repeatedly. That's when you can boost the memory of a child. The child can learn more than one language once the child is less than 7 years old, and then don't be too restrictive as a parent, as long as it's not endangering. I'll give you an example. I said that sometimes a child is saying something, because you want to be quiet, you tell the child to shut up. No, you are killing the creativity of that child when you tell the child, no, go to another room that is quiet. Go to another room that is quiet. Go to another room that is quiet, rather than tell the child. If a child is playing and it's not dangerous play, if a child is playing and it is not dangerous, the child is playing and that game is not dangerous, please don't tell the child that the child should stop playing. Because as the child is trying to learn one or two things, if a child is trying to play with a wire, if the wire is not a dangerous wire, don't prevent the child. As the child is doing those things, the child is building their creativity muscles. They were born to do so. They are not doing it because that's how they are created. That's how the child is getting to become more creative and more creative and more creative. So please, a lot of us, when we restrict children, we are killing their creativity from an early age. And then I'll add one more thing. Let a child wake up when the child wants to wake up. Don't wake a child up. Yeah, because you are killing the creativity of the child when the child is asleep and you wake the child up. That wake up. Let the child wake up at the right time. It's just that because of time, I can't go deeper and break it down and explain. But when a child is sleeping, the child is actually growing his brain. By the time you interrupt a child's sleep, wake up, this and that, wake up, and some of our school system doesn't work. Children resume too early, in my own opinion. Children resume too early. You wake a child up, no, the child should go to sleep when the child wants to go to sleep. A child should wake up when the child wants to wake up. Not that I want to say that the class must start by 7 o'clock, by 7:30, there's a class, by 8 o'clock, no. But that's concerning our education system. So there's a lot I can say concerning how to boost the creativity of a child. But for now, I'll leave it at those three. And I can communicate. I mean, we can talk more later, but that's it. our education system makes me very, very, very perplexed at times.
Okay, good morning, Adekanmi.
Hello, good morning. Can you
So
please
this is
speak up a bit?
afternoon. I'm so sorry.
Good
Coach
afternoon.
Lara, can you hear me?
Yes, it's a lot better now. Good afternoon, sis.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for putting this together. You're always impactful in every session you bring to us, and we are really grateful. Okay, Adekanmi, I'm glad you did correct that impression where you say we disrupt children's sleep. Our society does not allow us, because when you were saying it, I was like, okay, then you actually added yourself that our schools, because of the nature, or rather because of where we have found ourselves, we tend to tell our children to go to bed early and tell them to wake up early because, you need to drop off your kids at school and also go to work. Okay, so this is my question. I noticed you did say something about Sony as an organization where the person actually invented the PlayStation is not even the MD. Now, this is my question. You are working in an organization and you have innovative ideas. You share it with the business owners and they just tell you to, please, that we're not interested. And you know these ideas are things that would add value. When this keeps happening, you as an individual, how do you manage your emotion in that environment?
Okay, thank you very much. Who is this who made this contribution? Who asked this question?
Evelyn Okodu.
Evelyn.
Okay, thank you very much, Evelyn.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Now, let me say something about rejection. When your ideas are rejected, let's not forget that J.K. Rowling, one of the most successful writers of all time, the writer of Harry Potter, was rejected by 12 different publishers. Let's not forget that Oprah Winfrey was rejected by many TV houses because they said she was too fat for TV. And let's not forget that one of China's richest men, Jack Ma, was rejected 7 times by Harvard University. But what I'm saying is this, rejection should make you press on further, and it should not kill your creativity. It should make you work more on your creativity until your ideas are totally appealing that nobody can say no. Please, let us use rejection as an asset and not a liability. One more time. Please, let us engineer rejection as an asset and not a liability. So let me tell you something. I've been rejected many times. Every successful person has been rejected. There are musicians, the most successful musicians today were rejected by multiple publishing houses. The story I gave of the Beatles, the Beatles, somebody told John Lennon that he's one of his family members when he was young, told him that he will never succeed. And this is not just motivational. No, this is not motivational. This is practical and functional. That rejection should make you to say, okay, let me go back to the drawing board and see what I can tilt to it such that it can appeal to people. It should make you work harder. I think J.K. Rowling became very successful because she was rejected by 12 different publishers, because it made her keep going back to the drawing board and saying, okay, what can I do? Look at the founder of Spanx, Sarah Blakely. Sarah Blakely was rejected by so many people, hundreds of people. Sarah Blakely was rejected by so many people, but eventually the continuous rejection is an asset, in my own opinion. Yeah, even Christians will say Jesus Christ, he came unto his own and his own received him not. And so please let us look at it as, let it make you to go back to the drawing board and keep working at it. And let's remember that people are rejecting you for different motives. The fact that Mr. A rejects you means that you can go to Mr. B. Mr. A may have a very funny motive. Go to Mr. B, go to Mr. C, go to Mr. D. And eventually it can push you to even start your own thing. You can start your own thing on a smaller scale. So, but I think let's not. I'm a brain aficionado, neuroscientific aficionado, and I've seen that brain activates your prefrontal cortex. That's why we remember people who have hurt us more than people who have helped us. That's why heartbreak is more impressionable than somebody who even loves us. And so please, as I conclude on this question, or the answer to this question, rejection should be an intellectual asset more than an intellectual liability. Evelyn, I hope that answers your question.
I can just add a note to that.
Yes,
So.
thank you. That's
Thank
very
you. Yes, let me add a note.
Okay, Lara wants to come in.
Stay on.
You stay on the lookout. I'll check it out, okay? If he comes, what's the lights on later? Okay?
Can we mute? Can we mute? Mercy.
Can we please mute?
Okay. Thank you. So looking at it from organizational perspective, sometimes we have ideas that we believe would help our organization, but we get rejected or they don't take us seriously. I always tell people, one, you also need to try and understand what is most important for the organization at that time. I mean, when I was talking about design thinking toolkit, one of the toolkits is prioritization. What is priority for the organization at that time? How ready are they as well, and how willing are they as well to embrace whatever ideas you are bringing on the table? You also need to understand what is most important to them. If the focus at that point is different from what your ideas will bring benefit for, then there might not be acceptance, there would be rejection. Like Adekanmi mentioned, rejection you shouldn't take it to heart. Let it actually foil your creativity further by asking probing questions. Okay, so guys, I brought this idea to the table. What would you like to see? How do you want it to look like? So when they come and say, no, this doesn't make sense, ask further question. What would make sense? You know, from asking questions, you would realize that you will get more insight that might be of help for you to take that idea and take it back and relook it, work on it, expand, reduce, or whatsoever. And sometimes also in communicating your ideas to, let them understand what the benefit will be for the overall benefit and how it links to the overall strategic focus for that organization. So that's one of the ways through which the rejection can be used to further fuel creativity when you ask further probing questions to understand what they would like to see and how you can improve on that idea. And sometimes I have a friend who always tell me that no in your organization does not mean no. Sometimes it might just be not yet, but keep at it and don't let that discourage you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach Lara. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think on that note, we do not have any further question. We'll bring this session to a close. Wow. It's been an interesting 2.5-hour session learning. Thank you so much from myself and Adekanmi for giving us your time this weekend to learn together. I also learned here from all the contributions and the ideas that came forth. Would like to end the session now. Adekanmi, I'll hand it over to you to please end the session. Thank you.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much. Please, can you just let people know how they can get your books, your material, your resources, and how they can follow you, please? If you can let them know that in the chat box. Thank you very much, Lara. So, like I said, you can follow me on Instagram at Olusanya Adekanmi. The details are there in the chat box. You can follow me on YouTube. I have YouTube videos as well on Adekanmi Olusanya. And then my book, I have, like I said, an audio book that is also an ebook as well, ebook and audio book all in one, on innovation, the brain, and other areas. It's a four-part series on effectiveness. And if you want it, you can click on the link that I will drop or call. I dropped 2 numbers you can call. I dropped 2 numbers that you can call, and it will be delivered to your doorstep, or you can buy it, you can purchase it on. You can purchase it on Paystack. So I'll drop the Paystack link now. So I'll put the Paystack link there. So you have those options. So that's it. So thank you very much, everybody. I have put my email address. Lara's email is there as well, and her other details. So if you need to communicate with us, consequently, you can do so. And finally, I hope that we are going to send this recording out. This session was recorded. We'll send it out to you all, so you can go over it again and again. Of course, as you follow us on our channels, we'll have more of resources to corroborate everything that we have said, either on Instagram, on YouTube, or on other social media channels. And then finally, please try to put these things into practice. Let me leave with something I do every morning that helps me to convert frustration to innovation. Every morning when I wake up, I tell myself, Komi, every frustration in your life is an innovation. Every frustration is a profit-making innovation. Every frustration, I say it to myself, so that when I go through my day and I see a frustration, I don't see problem. I see money. I see money making opportunities. I just see money making opportunities. And it's not just about money. It's about solving problems and creating value for people. It's about solving problems and creating value. For example, I have a program I'm running now on how people can read 100 books every year by spending just 10 minutes a day. How people can read 100 books every year by spending just 10 minutes a day. And they read 100 books every year. It's an innovation. I call it social reading. It's an innovation I created as well. But it came out of frustration. So, but I tell myself every morning, I say it about 10 times to myself, Komi, every frustration in your life is an innovation. Every frustration in your life is an innovation. And I just keep on saying it. So please, it is not what you know that makes a difference. It's what you do with what you know that makes a difference. And having said that, I look forward to you guys doing great things, impacting your society and being innovative as effortlessly as possible. Thank you very much. From Lara and I, we are saying, man, have an excellent day, have an excellent weekend, have an excellent month, have an excellent year, and we look forward to it. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. God bless you. Good to hear from you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Please remember to drop your email if you haven't dropped it yet, so we can send you recording. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Quite
Thank you.
honest.
Thank you. Thanks for that feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.